your why is, one of the most important things is that it is aligned with the office that you're considering running for, and that that office that you're considering running for is also aligned with, the why that goes into running for office in the first place. And that starts first and foremost with just understanding if in fact you're eligible and qualified to run for the offices that you're considering for, whether that's the sort of the restrictions and the requirements that are around age and residency or citizenship, but also about the job requirements and skills that go into holding that elected office. The example that we often point to is that that's not the end of Ted Kennedy in that video clip. He didn't end up becoming president, but he became a very, very effective United States senator who authored hundreds of pieces of unique legislation and was known for being a negotiator and deal maker. His skill set and his abilities were much more grounded in the legislative branch of government. And in this case, that could be the US Senate or a city council or a state legislature versus sort of the executive skill set that comes with being a president, a governor, or a mayor. So being able to candidly identify kind of where your strengths are and align them with the positions that are available to you is an important piece of the journey. We're happy to help with that, of course, as well as identify, the scale of difficulty that goes into an election. Not everyone's first campaign should be for president or for the US House. It's important to take a step back sometimes from the excitement and enthusiasm that often comes with, hey, I'm going to run for office, but also look at the opportunities that are out there and make sure that right off the bat, you're positioning yourself for success. More importantly than anything, though, it's critical that whatever office you choose is deeply resonative with your why. And that's important. Sometimes you'll talk to a candidate if you've been around the political space and you'll ask them why they're running, and they'll say, I care deeply about issues like climate change and abortion rights and federal tax policy or foreign policy. And you'll say, totally understand that, but you're running for, municipal office. Even if you were to be elected, you have no power or authority on any of the issues you just laid out. And that is an immediate break in the sort of compelling moment of trying to connect your why and connect with other people about why you're running. It's really, really important that your why fits the office that you're running for and that you fully understand how those two things are connected. So we break up here. This is Rob in the flesh, and I'll pop over to him and let him kind of break down what goes into his personal why and why this is such an effective example of how to explain to people in a world where he was running for office, how he could pitch and frame his why behind running for an office like the mayor of Portland. I'll put it on the screen here, Rob, if you want to read through it.
Yeah. So you can see sort of some of the key ingredients bolded here for this entire speech. But as a lifelong Mainer and political organizer, I've spent my entire career working to make the American dream a reality for all. After watching my sister navigate a cancer diagnosis without healthcare in high school, I fought for national healthcare reform. When my war hero brother passed away closeted, I worked to pass marriage equality and repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell. And for the last decade, I've worked to protect our democracy and promote access to the ballot as the national field director for Represent Us. When I see big problems, I can't help but try to fix them. And that is why I'm running for mayor of Portland. Our growing city needs new leadership that will prioritize the needs of everyday Mainers rather than partisan politics and wealthy out-of-state developers. That is why I'm fighting for affordable housing, for rent control, and to support our teachers and schools. I believe that access to affordable college and livable wages are not just luxuries, but the basic necessities for a thriving community. My opponent comes from the Democratic Party establishment and has a record of supporting big money special interests over working families. It's time for a change. And with your support, we can bring new ideas and fresh perspective to City Hall that'll benefit all Mainers. So that's the little mock speech there. And a couple of the things that I think work with this. One is it's important to have that headline version. You need to have your 30-second version, your 60-second version, and your 5-minute version of why you're running. Because sometimes you're going to be explaining who you are and why you're running in the context of a quick interaction on the streets when you're canvassing with people. Other times you're going to have a longer conversation, maybe with a press outlet, right? You share your qualifications. Who are you? What is sort of your resume? But if you leave it at just your qualifications without injecting a little bit of who you are as a person, it's going to fall flat. You need to show a little bit of vulnerability and let people into who you are as a person. Why this race? Why are you running for this particular office? As Jared mentioned, Ted Kennedy was a pretty skillful member of the Senate. He went on to write 300 bills, and his combative attitude actually really served him in that role. So why are you a perfect fit for this particular job opening? And what will you do? So again, this gets to the vision piece. What are the policies that you would press forward with? And then finally, on contrast, I mentioned the importance of contrast before in the context of that Kennedy clip. But with contrast, this doesn't mean dragging your opponent. This doesn't mean, mudslinging in any way. You can let the record sort of speak for itself. In this case here, in the fictional run against a fictional candidate, I posited that there's a Democratic establishment member who's taken a lot of funding, something that you can prove by looking at campaign financing reports. And yeah, so that's there.